One thing that I really love is to use astrology in my everyday life as a very practical tool to navigating life and make life a little bit easier than it is sometimes. And one of the questions I very often get from people is that how do I trust my intuition more? And so today what we're going to do is that I take each of the rising sign through the houses and explain a few tools very quickly on how your intuition might show up for you and how that plays out in your daily life, because then you can actually use this knowledge to become a better receiver of your intuition. So let's just dive right into it. If you are Aries rising, one thing I would pay attention to is that your intuitive field very often comes to you from the dream world. You might be someone who has very vivid dreams in periods of your life. You could benefit from dream journaling, becoming very conscious about if you have any recurring dreams, symbolisms of that sort. Meditation particularly is also a great way in which you can actually receive a lot of informative information about your intuition. One thing that is particularly important for you if you are Aries rising is that whenever you might not act in alignment with your intuition, that will play out in your day-to-day life in a very physical, felt way. So that could be that you get like tension in your shoulders or headaches, or you have certain bodily responses to where you might be acting out of alignment with your intuition. Another thing to pay attention to could be that you actually receive information from your intuition through your physical body. So it's super important for you if you are Aries rising to have a good relationship and be able to feel your physical body a lot and to stay in your body center, because that is the vehicle through which you receive your intuition on a daily level. So let's say that something that's very typical for Aries rising is that you might have some specific dreams that keeps reappearing, or you could be someone who even have very prophetic dreams, and those are holding a symbolism, a key to something that guides you from a higher place, but you don't listen to it. So you are feeling fatigue in your body, maybe there's something in your daily habits that doesn't really work well for you, or it could be that literally your body starts to have different cravings to food if there's something unresolved in the sense of not listening to your intuition. So if I were to give you one advice, well, of course, if you have any planets in your 12th or 6th house, which are the houses that I base this theory on, I would count those in as well, obviously, but just to make this super simple and super practical for you, pay attention to how your body feels, and if you have tension, you might not be listening to your intuition. And your intuition is very symbolic, comes through the dream world, is very Pisces-like, very floaty. It can have these very subtle insights for you that you might not want to trust to begin with because you keep it rational, but that if you don't trust it, you get restrictions in your physical body. I think that's how I can explain it the best. So practice your intuition through dream journaling, connecting to meditation, journaling on how you feel every day to day, anything that also can be perceived as a bit metaphysical, like a bird feather or number plates that keeps repeating. I would pay attention for those things if I were you. Well, now let's go on to Taurus rising. If you're Taurus rising, I would say that in order to cultivate or listen better to your intuition in your daily life, you very much need to trust your first instincts that comes to you. Like you say yes, no, should I go that way, should I do this? And the thing that might sometimes be difficult for you to where you don't trust yourself is that you try to share this knowledge with someone else or like a partner, and then you explain it away instead of just acting on a clear yes, no. So it's very important for you, Taurus rising, that you just have a very instinctual way of receiving a yes, no answer in your body. So things that could be really good for you if you never heard about it before, but you can actually learn to do this thing that is called a sway test, where your body leans forward if it's a yes, or backward if it's a no. And it's like a bit like you have to fine-tune your instrument so that you can learn to get accurate results. But for you, having like areas in your day-to-day house, like the 6th house, I would say you could really benefit from getting deep into your physical body's knowledge and connecting to your body. And if your intuition, or if you don't listen to your intuition, it's very likely that the way that it would show itself would be restriction in, you know, romantic relationships or close friendships, that I did not listen to my instinct about saying yes or no, and now I'm kind of in this situation where this is just not aligned, and it's playing out in my romantic relationship or my friendships, that something creates friction. So again, cultivate a trust in your very instinctual first impressions of something, and go for it before you start to bring that viewpoint out to your friends group and others, because that's where you will always get into trouble. So those are my little insights to you, Taurus rising. Gemini rising. So this one is interesting because you actually in many ways have to be quiet in order to yeah, I know it's difficult for you, Gemini rising, but you have to learn to become quiet and still in order to receive your intuition, because what very often happens is that you on some level have this tendency to make everything rational and debate yourself when you already have the knowledge in your body. It could be that your intuition comes very much through a physical sensation, like you get chills or you get goosebumps when something resonates as truth, or you feel that you really get contracted when something is off for you and it's not. You could be the kind of person who walks down a road and out of nowhere you get like just the chills, like, oh, I should not go that way. And before your mind can even negotiate, you should just follow it. That's sort of how you cultivate a better intuition in your life based on your rising sign. Another thing that I would say again and really emphasize is just the ability to slow your mind down enough for you to sense your physical body, and so that you actually pay attention, because a lot of people can also get chills and they don't pay attention at all, like, oh yeah, that was just goosebumps or whatever. But you need to have a stillness or a flow that is clear enough for you to actually receive and think that this could be information coming from your intuitive side. So that's for you, Gemini risings. Okay, Cancer rising. This one is an interesting one. Because intuition for you could come to you through words. Like you could literally be someone who have the ability for, I think it's called clairaudience, like you can hear things or guidance as if someone real is talking, kind of. And this is something that is really important for you to trust. And to pay attention to, that your way of thinking is important to keep separated between when am I trying to explain something and when am I receiving a thought that feels like it's based on love. So very often it could be important for you that you noticed your ability for clear audience or having received intuition this way, but then at the same time you put them in a broader context just for the sake of cultivating a trust in your own receptive guidance. So let's say you start writing every time you have a thought that feels like, okay, that thought was not from me, and you keep a track record and you put it into a broader context, maybe over a month, and you look at that and you are like, oh, every time I'm with this person I get this thought, every time I'm in that situation I get that thought. And now you can educate yourself into trusting those clear audience messages much better. So that's the main thing for you, Cancer rising. If I move on to Leo rising, this is an interesting one. So Leo rising, you are extremely connected to your unconscious mind, and you are very easily influenced by moon cycles, by push-pull kind of energies. You can pick up energies from other people's subconscious mind, and sometimes you're not even aware that it happens. And then what is going to very often be the case for you is that you start not believing that you can be this sensitive. So an example could be that you observe for a couple of maybe even months that you sense something like an intuition, like every time that I am experiencing this, I have this feeling in me. Your intuition is very much connected to your feelings, your emotions. So if you negate your emotions and your feelings, your intuition cannot be received by you, and you really need to have keep your emotional sensitivity safe by having very clear boundaries and discernment, rather than just closing down your intuition. Because the intuition needs to, for you specifically, to be very much connected to you being able to hold the space for your own emotions and trust them. And then knowing that you have the boundaries where you can protect yourself from getting misinformation also, and maybe even being manipulated by your own need to rationalize what you truly feel. And every time you practice this as a Leo rising, you will see that you become more confident in receiving your intuition through your emotional landscape. So when something feels off, trust it and make sure to have clear boundaries so that you can separate yourself from that. Okay, let's move on to Virgo risings. Well, your intuition most likely comes through what we can call heart intelligence, or the knowing of the heart. So there are actually studies that shows that we do have brain-like cells in our heart, and by meditating into feeling of our heart, we have like what is called an electromagnetic field around us that can tap into a broader consciousness and awareness. And you very much, as a Virgo rising, has that ability. You just need to make sure that in your daily life, to receive this knowledge, that you have the space to do so, that you're not constantly occupied with rational things. So an outlet for you to be able to receive your own intuition and make it better is through music, dance, through learning to see patterns in an objective way and take in that information, but then at the same time trusting that your heart already knows the truth about something or someone. And don't try to negotiate that, because if you do, you close off your heart. You know, your connection is just so connected to the knowledge of your heart, and that's very important for you to know, Virgo rising. And yeah, I think that's the most important point to get across here. Then, my dear Libra risings, this is also an interesting one because your intuition is very often perceived through details that other people would miss out on, but they are relevant to you. So you are like a detective in many ways. You are very quick at starting to see small inconsistencies. Your intuition is a bit of that of a detective. Like you can pick up human behavior and ways that people are acting that seems inconsistent. So they say one thing but do another, and you pick it up like this immediately. And when that happens, you really need to be able to have parts of your daily life where you are silent enough to put the dots together. Because if your life is constantly busy and buzzing and analyzing too much, you don't have the time or space to really calm yourself down and say like, what did I learn today? What did I pick up on today? Because having this navigational skill of picking up very tiny details and seeing these patterns that could really help you intuitively in your life decisions, but it sort of needs to have a container. And so where you can go a bit down the wrong road with your intuition is when you are too occupied with trying to fix everything and you don't let the small information come to you. I would also say that you need to know when to stop analyzing. And the only way you can do so is to really make a container for your intuition to flow in. So maybe you journal, maybe you meditate on it, maybe you take notes, maybe you have a question. Let's say you want to use your intuition to decide whether a business deal is good or not good for you, and you go to several meetings and you pick up these tiny details. Take a notebook with you, don't assume anything on beforehand, and make it a practice that you write down these details. And then, based on that, you say, I will no longer analyze more, but I will connect the dots. So you are very much a dot connector, and that is your intuitive superpower in many ways for you, Libra risings. Okay, Scorpio rising. Well, Scorpio rising, you might have your intuition might very fast show up in how your unconscious patterns are played out in relationships. It could be that, for a period of time, you have an intuition that a person is not right for you, or that this doesn't feel like the kind of relationship that could work out, and that's your intuition. Then you will see very, very fast an escalation of the problems in your relationships, in your daily life. So you really need to know how to use your Aries ruling your 6th house to bring back your instinct and take action when something is not good for you. Because every single time that you do not use this skill that you have for feeling deeply, you will find yourself in connections that just isn't right for you, and that's how it will play out in your daily life. And the tension that your intuition potentially creates for you is that you just don't accept the unseen before you can prove it. So now you create tension in your own psyche between, I kind of already know this, but I kind of don't have any proof for it. So it's always like that is like a self-fulfilling prophecy, because now the people around you in your daily life will have to act out that subconscious knowing that this is not right for you, if that makes sense. And then really try to learn how to become present in your physical body. And don't explain don't try to explain anything or ask anyone for advice about, yeah, I have this feeling that I should do that, but what do you think about it? Because already by then you have been overriding your very instinctual nature, and your instinct shows up in your day-to-day life. It's like, it's not hidden away. It's really like your routines, the people you encounter every day, your workflow. You will just feel in those feels when you are not listening to your intuition. Yes. Okay, Sagittarius rising. You have Scorpio in your 12th house, so you can really always trust that your intuition is picking up everything that is like concealed in some way or another. So for instance, when people have specific kind of emotional undercurrents, you can sense if there's control, manipulation at hand, and in order for you to use that as a superpower to trust your intuition more, is that you need to stop negotiating that you have this ability to sense where things doesn't add up, where people's smiles on their faces are fake, and you will see that your intuition gets blocked in your day-to-day life when you don't honor that. And then it's really interesting because in order to trust that more and cultivate that more, you need to be kind of slowing down, which is not what you want to do naturally. You want to like kind of keep going, but you need to return to your senses. You need to return to, what can I hear, what can I smell, what can I taste, what can I touch? Because in that state you will be able to receive perhaps what you didn't pay attention to, but you already know. Let me give you an example. Let's say that you are in a friend group and something is off. You think it in the back of your head, and but you don't. You just act like normal, and then you come home and you just have a nice shower. You take something to eat, and you create like space where you have nothing else to do. Once you are back in that state, in your present, in your physical body, you can think back and say like, oh, that person were acting nicely, but I don't think they are nice. That person said that they will do this, but I know they won't. And in that space, when you are calm and collected in that space in yourself, in your senses, that's when you can trust your intuition. That's when you can trust that you are fine-tuned to your natural abilities of how you how your intuition is being delivered to you. Obviously, make sure to check if you have any other planets or placements in the 6th and 12th house, because that can also give you an extra layer. Yes, my Capricorn risings. Okay, so your intuition very often show up in guidance on where to go, which direction to walk in. It's like you can have this very you sometimes you can just have the feeling that you don't know why you have to do this thing, but you just have to do it and you just need to go there. You can be this kind of person that, to give you a good example, that is like, oh, I need to go to London in 5 days. And everyone is like, you never mentioned you wanted to go to London, and you just know so strongly that you have to book that travel, or you have to end your job, or you have to do something. That you can very often trust is your intuition, because that's your natural receptive mode for that. Where you might sometimes get in trouble is that when you start to demand an outside answer to have a confirmation that this is true, and then it slows you down, and instead of following the natural track line that comes for you, mapping out whether it's thoughts or actions you want to take, then you create this resistance, because now your intuition is not fully flowing. And if anything, restriction and questions and doubts is the one factor that really stops you for connecting to your own intuition. So I would say that's the most important thing. Your intuition can be trained and cultivated by you trusting when you get an instinct to do something, go somewhere, say something, and it pops into you that very quickly, very naturally. Go for it, definitely. Okay, Aquarius rising. Well, your intuition might be one of the more quiet ones, you know, the more it sounds maybe a bit weird, but what I often see with this placement as an Aquarius rising, you will have a tendency to almost think that your intuition is too authoritative and too logical for that to even be your intuition, which is kind of like a funny mechanism, because you will be like, that, you know, as an Aquarius rising, you like to vision bigger and expand your horizon and think outside the box. And then now your intuition shows up in this very authoritative voice, like not negative, but it could be like, it would be really good for you if you did that. It would be really a good way to not take that road. And you can sometimes negate your own intuition exactly because of that, because it sounds like the exact opposite of someone that you would like to hang out with, not in a negative sense, just in like you feel like, yeah, I don't want to be restricted, I want to have my visions and go for it. I would say that how this can manifest sometimes if you don't listen to it is that you really have a lot of restrictions in your emotional capability in a daily life if you don't listen to those guiding voices that seems a bit authoritative, that want you to take steps to kind of like make maybe structure for yourself, or just listen more to how your daily life can be improved by you actually having some sort of like structured guidance. That's what comes back to me all the time, Aquarius rising. And then you will be extremely locked off to your emotional body in your daily life if you don't listen. Whereas when you listen to it, you will have like this more floating feeling that things in your work, your daily habits, how you even feel your body, if it feels like, you know, rigid, or it feels, you know, relaxed. That is how you can tell very much if you listen to intuition or not. And you can practice it because both sides balance each other and help each other. So let's say you feel, oh, I just cannot access my intuition and it bothers me, then things that can make your emotions rise and come to the surface, like breath work or journaling or just really tapping into your body, will make you receptible for that more authoritative voice that wants to, just like a father voice that wants all the best for you and tell you to make the right investments in whatever it might be. So that's what I have for you, Aquarius rising. Pisces rising. Well, with you, what I see that can be typical in regards to your intuition is that you can have like these sudden flashes of clarity, like whoo, like it comes almost so fast that you don't think it can be trusted. But that's when exactly you know that this is your intuition. It could be you have worked deeply on yourself for a very long time to understand something, and then boom, one day out of nowhere you're like, oh my God, that is so obvious to me. This is your intuition. And I would say that it's important for you to bring the truth of your intuition out in a heartfelt way in your daily life, because that is what will make your intuition sharper. So just a simple way could be, let's say you draw or you sing or you dance and you connect really to your heart in just maybe 10 minutes on a routine every single day. That will do magic for how you connect with your intuition. Because in order for your intuition to flow, it needs to be safe from the ego, safe from the fear, because whenever we have fear or question our intuition, which most people do because it just seems like it's too obvious advice, well, then you don't get the benefits of it either. But now you can work between what do I do in my daily routines and workflow, and maybe what I just make a habit every day for 10 minutes. How can that sort of like sustain me to be receptible for when my intuition is flashing like a flashlight in on something that I need to know in the moment. And it's super vital for you as a Pisces rising to know that these flashlights of insights is one of your specific superpowers, but it's not a superpower if you don't know the difference between a love and a fear frequency. And the reason why is that sometimes fear can also throw these flashes on you. And so you need to know the difference. And the difference comes out when you truly connect to your heart. It can be a small meditation. It can be like putting your hands in front of your heart, taking 3 deep breaths and asking, what is right for me in this moment to do? Did that flashlight insight come from fear or love? And you have the immediate answer. And that's how you practice, because intuition is also a practice that needs to be kept up with in order for you to reap the benefits of it. So that's what I have for you, Pisces rising. If you like this video, I hope you like and subscribe, and I wish to see you in another one. Bisous.